that's exactly what we're going to do. Hey everybody, my name is Tyler, also known as Tomba or SacredTomba, whatever you want to do. I don't normally use my full tag unless I have to, but in this case I have to because I'm obviously running the game that my net tag is inspired from.
Yep.
So this was one of my favorite games when I was a kid, and I'm currently 4th on the leaderboards for 80% and currently world record holder for the North American version because all the other runners run on J. So we will go into version differences in a little bit, but other than that, let's go ahead and get started. So
Tomba is living.
we're going to get started in, hold on. So after I hit one more button. 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright, so I'll be helping out like every once in a while, just like for general commentary, but for the most part, Tomba's gonna just have this.
Alright, so right off the bat, I've already done movement tech. There's something called weapon boost jumps. I just usually call them boost jumps, so that's how I want to refer to them from now on. But basically, every single time Tomba decides to shoot out his weapon, I messed up. His momentum changes. That was good. His momentum changes, and there's some crazy jumps that you're not intended to do with that, but you totally can. And the first one actually is in this first area. It's going to be in probably about 2 minutes from now, but
It's used for a lot of parts of the run.
yeah, there's some crazy things. It lets us do some unintentional skips. This game is actually pretty locked down in terms of like you need to do whatever the game is necessary for completion, with the exception of 2 what we're going to call events, because that's what the game calls them. You might notice these like blocky wooden letters that come up.
Yeah,
That could have been better, but it's okay. What was I saying? The blocky letters. They're basically called events. There's 80% only does like 50 of them, or 50 or so of them. I don't remember the exact number. There's 2 of them that are considered supposed to be mandatory that we actually can skip. One of them uses the boost jumps, and the other one is my favorite skip in the entire game, just because it's not really an exploit. It just uses very clever game mechanics, or it's a very clever use of game mechanics, and that will be in the ice area, which is the 3rd area of the game.
As you see, there's a lot of cutscenes in this game because this is like sort of like an RPG of a way, like a thing. It's like a RPG plus like a platformer. So you see a lot of these cutscenes that we kind of can't avoid. Wasn't it like the actual like gameplay of this section, or like the game is like more like what, like 30-ish minutes?
The gameplay, world record-wise, world record is currently 109. I believe the amount of time you're actually playing the game is roughly like 40 minutes.
Yeah, so quite a lot of time is spent in these cutscenes, but it just allows us to explain a lot of things. But
luckily for a marathon, it's pretty nice because I actually can explain stuff. Right now, I should be at like a 225, 226. Yeah, I'm roughly on point. That's fine. I shouldn't check the timer like that, but I know that like the fastest I've got to this point is at 222, maybe at 221. I can't remember. This is not one of my splits. Next up, after we get past this section, we're going to cross some barrels, and then it's my least favorite jump in the entire game. So, God, I really hope I don't mess this up.
yeah,
This is definitely the major reset point for the first split, and it's really annoying. So hopefully nothing really goes terribly wrong. Although if I mess up twice, I'll just do a natural route because I need the health, potentially.
so we're gonna need these crabs to like basically like get some stairs later to actually get to the next area.
There's the boomerang. We're going to skip the boomerang
Oh yeah,
now.
we don't need the boomerang in this run at all. You'll see why very soon, but for the most part, we're gonna be stuck with blackjack.
And I'll explain how the plot goes in a little bit once we get to it. That's fine.
This is the jump that we were talking about.
Okay. Normally I can skip this peg. What in the world is going on? I shouldn't have done that. That's fine.
Yeah, that jump is actually quite difficult to do. But that's like a perfect example of what the boost jump can do. And you'll be seeing a lot of that. Like pretty much every single bit of movement revolves around the boost jump.
Fortunately, it's really punishing since it gets me back there. Okay, so I guess I can talk about a little bit about the plot of this game for a little bit. Basically, after the events of the first game, don't normally grab that. That's fine. Okay.
There we go.
That's what I was intending to do. Now, unfortunately, this crab can also be a kind of... Okay, other than me dying, this actually was...
That crab was very nice. Sometimes he could just be really annoying to grab.
That crab's also not... That crab's not annoying. That crab is entirely consistent. So whenever these blocky letters happen, we actually cannot transition, so we use the time. We use the time to get those magic wings up there, which is very useful. This is the first cutscene that I actually can put down the controller for a little bit. It's 1 out of like 3, and lets me talk a little bit about what happened. So basically, after we get to the first game, Tomba's just chilling. He has a girlfriend. The game does not call it her girlfriend, but it basically is. And he gets a letter from her, and basically he doesn't know where she's at. So the entire time that we're first getting here, we're trying to reach the coal mining town, which is the second part of the second area, to go see what's up with her. And then after that, we have to go save her, because spoiler alert, she's obviously missing. And
the game would be done very quickly.
And so, like, the evil pigs, which is what this game's antagonists are, I always kind of like that as a kid, because it's so freaking Japanese and weird. But yeah, that's basically how it is. It's the only time you're actually probably going to hear dialogue, because I can't skip this.
What world was that? Whoa!
Something I should also talk about is my estimates of 125. I should not be hitting that, not even close. My goal is a 118 or less. My current best is a 113, and I actually reached it about 4 days ago. So, and I've been hitting consistent 115s practicing for this event, so we'll see what happens.
For the most part, there's not too much variance. Aside that first jump being like a little bit of an issue, it's like pretty much past this point, like there's like a couple RNG points. Like, there's one big one that could cause a lot of time, but for the most part, it's been just like pretty smooth sailing.
There's like 4 major RNG points. I already talked about it.
Fast pace.
Okay. I already talked about one of them, or I didn't talk about one. We already skipped one of them. I didn't talk about it because it doesn't really matter too much. The water droplets at the very beginning, they can kind of be in different positions, and certain positions are better, but for the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter.
So now we're in pipe area.
The reason why we skipped the boomerang earlier is because it clogs up inventory space, and we get a strict upgrade to it, starting right now with the ice boomerang. We need the ice boomerang to cool down some of these enemies. And the main objective of this area is to get into Coal Mine Town, which is in that door that just spawned in. However, there's something that's blocking the doors that normally you want to talk to somebody and tell, but I already know. So these things that are blocking the vents are called cappers. You just have to cool them off and disappear. You don't have to mess with the ones that move around, only the ones that are blocking pipes. Okay.
There's going to be a lot of movement here as you just like move around trying to move all these cappers.
This is one of my favorite parts. That's the one time I want to use a diagonal. All right, here I'll be taking an intentional death, but right before we do that, I will be talking to this sign. What that sign does is it activates the magic wings that we grabbed earlier. These signs are teleportation points, and they let me teleport whenever we do that. We will be teleporting there. Actually, that's probably the one place that I teleport to the most in this entire run. Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. He definitely was there at the beginning just to get put back at the beginning of pipe area to get that one capper at the beginning. And I'm just going to grab the rest of these.
Alright, so that's the last one. As you can see, it actually says that we've removed all of them. This is the, like I said, the first RNG point was, I was really afraid I wasn't going to grab that chain. That's fine. The first RNG point was water drops. The second one is sand that's coming off of a conveyor belt in this next area. This guy, his name is Gran. He's actually kind of important for this fire area. We'll be seeing him a lot for the next like 5 or 6 minutes. And we will be going strictly into the first 3D environment in the game. Most of the game, as you can tell, has been this like 2D platformer RPG type thing. It's kind of one of the reasons why I love this game so much, is because it mixes a bunch of different genres that I like a lot. And as a kid, I didn't really get RPGs, like in general. but I definitely understand them now, and I realize that this was definitely part of it. Oh, that's great RNG. Unfortunately, I need 3 of those. So we need 3 of those. I'm not sure if we're gonna. I missed that one barely. Oh, now I'm bad in a bad position. I didn't think I was gonna be in a position.
Yeah, this card can be a little bit hard to control.
Wheelbarrow controls are not great.
After this, we're going to be trying to avoid a soft lock here.
This is the only potential place for me to soft lock in this entire run. I do have a save here. That's unfortunate. If I did not hit that guy earlier, I would have grabbed it. That's unfortunate. Yeah, RNG here to the max. I can't really do anything about that. Here, if I actually... Okay,
we're good. We're past that point.
I didn't think I was going to hit it, but I was going to make sure I purposely avoided it. But if I went close enough to where I put the sand in, it would trigger a cutscene expecting the hole to be filled or not filled. Since I did very specific movement to make sure that I didn't get an additional cutscene by dropping the wheelbarrow and then picking it back up, it'll drop the sand in. But because I skipped that cutscene of me initially filling it up, the game doesn't necessarily know right off the bat that it's filled. So if I triggered that cutscene, it would like freak out and it just soft lock. It's like the only soft lock potential for the entire game, at least for any percent. So other than me dying and stuff like that, I shouldn't have any issues. That being said, I will be carrying. I will be grabbing some items I don't normally grab. I should have already done one, to be honest. I kind of completely forgot. But in the ice area, I will be grabbing 1 additional chest that has magic wings, just in case I have to teleport. And if I do, I'll be in the ghost area. So here, Gran carried that big giant dirt clump downstairs for us because we are weak and he is strong. And we filled in that hole earlier, that way he could take it down for us. So that's the reason why we did that first, and then talk to him. Inside this mud clump is actually a monkey. His name is Charles. He is one of the very few, actually I think it's only 2 returning characters other than Tomba himself from the first game. He is one of them, and the other one we will not meet because that's a side mission, unfortunately. But, well, I guess there technically is 4 more, because this game does something really cool where, like, if you have a save file from the first game and it's completed up to a certain point, you can actually inject that save file into this game and get more additional side missions to do. I'm kind of curious about how the remaster for this game that comes out next year, surprised I haven't mentioned that earlier, is going to handle that, because as far as we're aware, the first game's remaster that came out this year is... I don't know how they're going to hook into that, and I think they're just going to let everyone do it, unfortunately. Part of that magic's going to be a little bit lost, but that's fine. Alright, here we're going to do our first teleport to that trolley station that we unlocked earlier.
So this is just the magic wings in action. You're going to be seeing a lot of this later when we need to like teleport pretty much all the time, but a lot of routing actually like is based around grabbing like magic wings when we can, like the fastest ones. So, and also getting some backup ones, as mentioned before, is very helpful.
Alright, here we're going to be getting our 3rd weapon. I guess technically it would be 4th if we grabbed the boomerang, but we didn't. The hammer is insanely useful. In fact, we got 2 of the major weapons I'll be using the entire game. I will pretty much be switching, unless it's necessary, between ice boomerang and hammer, depending on the situation. Both of them do very different things, and they're both very useful, so... but we'll be sticking with the hammer for the good majority, up until... Honestly, we'll be sticking with the hammer for a while, with one exception, and that'll be at the very beginning of the ice area. Just because I'm going to be doing a really cool trick with the boomerang. Well, I hope I am. With the boomerang. So, Gran, the guy who carried up the boulder, he's apparently stuck behind a bigger boulder, and we're going to have to blow it up, so we're going to die.
More death warping.
There was like a little switch that I kept on jumping on specifically. This time we're actually going to hit it with the hammer, now that we have the hammer.
And the door's just gone.
And inside, okay. Inside this hammer is bombs. And like I said earlier, we cannot transition in this area when the text is up on the screen, so...
We're kind of stuck there waiting.
I did not get it, that's fine. That's really hard. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't.
Yeah, sometimes you could use like boost jumps with like your weapon like swinging animation to like skip the ledge grab.
Ooh, good luck, bananas. I don't know if I grab those, but hopefully they are good luck. Here we're going to actually be doing a really hard set of jumps real quick, so... There we go. That's good.
All right.
right. Here's Gran. He's stuck behind the boulder, and we're going to blow up this boulder with the bombs we just got. So this is pretty much the last main thing we have to do in this pipe area real quick. After that, we'll be going back to the coal mining town, and then we'll be going to the ice area, which is probably my second favorite part of the game to actually do, because it gives you an item that increases your movement capabilities a lot. Casually, it's probably the strongest item in the game. For speedrunning purposes, I actually only use it for 2 areas, but it's really strong regardless, and it's the only time I get to use that. So
where it is used very heavily to our favor.
Lesser players will commonly, like on the speedrun leaderboards, lesser players will actually switch back to that suit for certain things, just because it's that powerful and it makes certain stuff easier. I will not. That's because I never did, and kind of just took the way to learn the game the most difficult way. Here, Gran decided to just drop off the trolley rail without noticing. I don't know how he didn't notice that,
I'm not
but
sure how he did that either.
basically we're going to be delivering that to him, and yeah, he's just like clueless and cannot hear like a bunch of steel dropping underneath him because logic.
Yep, just the wind.
And here we'll actually be seeing the final boss for the very first time. This is the part where the trolley, Grant says that she went to the Kajara Ranch, and Tabby, the girl that we're going to be saving at the very end of the game, went to the Kajara Ranch, and if we fix the trolley, she should come back. The trolley comes back, but without her. So because of that, we obviously know something's wrong, and there's actually a guy who was working on the rail on the other end. He'll pop up out of here and be like, hey, they took her. So here he is, right here. He actually has one of the most powerful items in the game. These are known as pig bags. They are what we're going to be using to contain the final bosses. That is actually the black one. That is the final one we get, and that's the final boss right there. And he's just going to take it from him, and we're not going to get it back until the very end of the game. However, we are going to be getting the red one, which is the fire one, real soon.
It's basically our main form of progression in this game, is we're basically just going to be trying to collect all the pig bags that we can throughout all the areas, and then just defeat the bosses when we can by the end.
NPCs will typically have the bag, and once you do something, they'll give you the bag. And usually if you get the bag, it's because you're at the end of that area, and then you can progress. So we are done with the fire area, at least for right now. There are cases where we do go back. We go back at the very end of the game, actually, but other than that, we're done. All right, so now we're on to Kajara Ranch, which is the ice area of the game, and one of my favorite areas of the game. I'm going to be trying to do a trick real quick with the hammer and boomerang using the quick swap on L and R2. I messed it up, that's fine.
Yeah. We can always grab that later, because we actually have to do it to come back.
It set my momentum on, yeah. So eventually we do have to come back here, and that chest, since I did not grab the contents for it, it will respawn. That's one of the harder tricks in the game, is using the boomerang to like grab items while you're like getting them. Later on, we'll be using the one of the final suits in the game that we get. I was really worried I was going to get hit by that. Come on, get up there. All right. Here we're going to be giving that journal we just got from that red chest from going where you saw Santa temporarily, and he's looking for his journal, and we found the journal because I knew where the journal was, and so he'll give us the green key. So the chest pile that you see to the right, that's the order we get the keys in. Unfortunately, I really wish we could skip the blue key. We only need the blue key once. And I can't do a trick right here because that thing is way too far away, so I'm going to try. Hopefully I don't get hit again. I did. That's fine.
That is our item that we've been waiting for.
I will not switch to it right now. That's a really cool thing where the camera just like phases through, lets me phase through that ice pillar because the camera just gets really confused.
So now we got the squirrel clothes.
The squirrel clothes is like casually the most powerful item in the game. Oops, I didn't do that.
This was always my favorite as a kid. I think it basically everyone was.
I think it's everyone's favorite weapon in the game. I'm getting a lot of weird diagonals. That's okay. I have died here many times. I have only twice. All right, so that sack that we grabbed earlier. we're going to be delivering it to Santa real quick. And also, you might be confused why I just cracked open an egg and got its insides. That will not become relevant for about 30 minutes.
So it turns out that Santa's #1 helper is a squirrel.
Yeah. Here we'll be getting an upgrade to the hammer, known as a fire hammer. They are considered different item inventories, so I can switch between the normal hammer and the fire hammer. And I said earlier I'll be switching between the ice hammer and the hammer. I did actually mean that. The fire hammer is only really useful for this ice area, and since the ice and hammer are right next to each other in the menu, I constantly switch between the two for their properties. The fire hammer does have the same properties, but there's not really a reason to specifically use it.
Just more inputs, so might as well just make it simpler. So buy Santa.
So something I really didn't explain is, like, you'll see me constantly, like, pressing, in this case it's the triangle button. You'll get to, like, an inventory menu where you can switch items around. You can switch your item, your weapon from that menu. However, you can also press L2 and R2 to, like, cycle them. Okay, this is a little bit difficult, so I'm concentrating a little bit. And I'm going to take the easy way out. Come here. Oh, you're not there. What the heck? Okay.
Usually a bird's in the way.
Usually the bird's in the way and will attack me. But if I'm spinning on the peg, it will, like, do whatever. Alright, here I'm going to be taking 2 very specific damage inputs, or damage boosts, to skip. Well, I tried. To skip one of these things. Here's another one, just for good measure in case you weren't scared enough. And I messed up, so I will just let it kill it. Oh, no. Okay, that's fine. That's magic wings. I'll just take it as magic wings. Oh, I don't have to get those.
I actually grabbed those. That's perfect.
That's normally a reset, I'm not gonna lie, but it's like a reset that doesn't really matter. I'm just like going in areas I don't normally go in. Alright, so we're done with this. I did it again, are you serious?
Yeah, the detection for this area is actually, or for that door is actually quite large.
Okay, that was actually pretty good though.
Yeah, clean back up.
Alright, let's not do this a third time. There we go. Yeah, the detection for that like slide is actually pretty good. I have not hit that in a while too, so I'm actually kind of mad that I've not hit it once but twice. Alright, so we're done with the first the first ice area. We're going to make our way to the second ice area. This has the trick that I think is the coolest trick in the game because it's just a very, very extremely clever use of game mechanics. The boost jump is not really used here at all, which is the only, like, quote-unquote game-breaking movement tech we have. This one just uses very, very clever game mechanics, so I hope I don't mess it up. If I do, I'm actually going to use one of the wings that we grabbed to just teleport back here and try again, because while I do know how to do natural route, it's one of the coolest tricks in the game, and I kind of want to show it off, so.
This is where Fire Hammer is used probably the most in the whole run for sure.
It is, however, I actually do switch between normal hammer and whatever, because I do not want to break this block right here. That's the only time I use normal hammer, because it will not, like, it'll just crack it, and it requires 2 hits with the normal hammer. Alright, so we're grabbing these Gajaras. That's why this area is called Gajara Ranch. They're basically chickens. They're going to get fried later, so I hope you like fried chicken, but
it's very sad, honestly.
They actually don't get hurt. The game specifically says they do not get hurt, but man, they look like they get hurt.
Yeah, it is not pretty. I'll tell you that.
Alright, I'm going to concentrate a little bit because we're actually about to do that area I was talking about.
He's going to do something called, like, Torgaka skip. That's what these, like, little enemies are called. And he's going to like, hit this enemy and jump to bait it to also jump as well.
Okay. I might be able to save this. I might be able to save this. If not, I'm just going to teleport.
Yeah.
I'm just going to... Oh, that's not what I meant to do. I'm so used to that.
Yeah.
That's fine. I just want to show off this trick. It's a good thing that my estimate's literally 12 minutes higher than my PB, so I have a lot of time to kill here. That's definitely also a reset, but that's besides the point here. I do have to grab those chicks again.
Let me just quickly go through that.
so that was a really good grab. Again, so I did 2 of those really quick. Good. Alright. I'm gonna avoid that green chest. That green chest does contain health I could use if I really wanted to, but it's gonna mess up my inventory, so I really don't want to. Alright, let's try this again. Man, that should be a good position. You're not high enough. What the hell? Actually, you know what? Go ahead and kill me. I realized I could just do that. Okay, we're just gonna try this again. I didn't stay airborne enough. That's fine. All right, so that's 2 deaths that I didn't mean to do. That's fine. I'm gonna donate like $5 for each death I didn't mean to do anyway. So that's okay. That's never happened before, but that was kind of cool. So I'm not gonna complain. I know part of this is just me being nervous because I'm not really like a person that type of do this type of thing, and I'm kind of just pushing myself. But I'm not actually doing it. Other than right now, I'm not really doing too bad. So like,
That's one of the more complicated parts of the run.
there's only one more part that I consider to be harder than this, and it's in the next area, and that's because like, oh man, that jump's also bad, but at least you have to scroll close for that.
There we go.
What the heck is going on? I got the height, but I didn't get anything else. There we go. All right.
Yeah, so now he's going to use that and get all the way up here.
All right, so the third chick that we do is right in this other block device right here. Normally, you have to take a gear that was actually relatively close to where we were earlier and talk to this guy, and he'll raise the bridge for this. But that's slow, and well, I didn't mean to do that. I'm having a lot of like weird. I'm using my good controller too, so I don't know. That's slow, and so we just like skip the bridge by having that little very tiny ladder that like. For most people, we just think, oh, that's like aesthetics, but we actually, as speedrunners, actually do use that ladder, so kind of upset that I've like messed that up a little bit, but that's okay. All right, so here, the chickens, the Kajaras, they're about to get fried because we're about to use static electricity, and they get hurt. Apparently they're fine. This guy says they're fine.
You can judge for yourself whether or not that, you feel as they get hurt, because I did not like it.
He says they're fine, and then later on, they are fine, and you actually take them back to him later on, and they're in the same exact locations, except it's when it's no longer snowy here. So something I didn't really explain is once we beat a boss, the entire area changes and gets uncursed. So eventually, this place will no longer be snowy and icy. The fireplace will no longer have the depths of hell. Still bottomless pit, so I still will die, but it's no longer on fire. Ghost area is no longer haunted. The Earth area is very strange, and I'll get to that one when we get there. And the water area honestly doesn't change that much. So there you go with that. But
yeah, trust me, they're fine.
About 3 minutes slower on my TV right now. It makes sense, but it is what it is. All right, so this is actually, I got a gold on this split on my last run that I ever did, and that was like 3 days ago at this point. So I'm actually kind of disappointed that I'm not playing that well, because I was playing really well with Kajara in practice. So, but the next area is...
It's my favorite area, casually.
Casually, it's my favorite area of the game. Speedrunning-wise, it's also my favorite area of the game.
These poor guys.
But it has like some of the coolest music in the game. Speaking about music, let's talk about the differences between North America and Japanese.
Yes.
All right, so most of the runners play on J. If you are playing on anything but actual hardware like a PS Vita or PS TV, you have to play on J. You don't have a choice. You can technically play the US version of that game on there because it was released, but however, there's like insane amounts of lag on the North American version for some reason. But the soundtrack is completely different. They redid the entire soundtrack, and for the better. The soundtrack is a lot better. It's one of the reasons why I run on that. Also, just...
my personal favorite song in the game.
Whoa. Oh, don't you dare. Don't you dare. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. All right, so if those ghost pigs grab you, you literally turn invisible. Really cool. However, that's a reset. Unless you're doing all events, because then that's not a reset, because that's mandatory, but only on very specific moments. So, all right, come on, ghost. There you go. These ghosts, they are on fire. You have to chill them down with the ice boomerang, so we do have to switch back to the ice boomerang for them. I chilled down one of them earlier. We'll have to get that one on the way back after we give that blue fruit that we just got to this artist who is missing blue paint. And spoiler alert, he will give us the blue key because the man likes blue. Probably Prussian blue, but that's not the point here. The game is like very of its era. It's very like late 90s and Japanese too. And it's one of the reasons why I like it. I think the game is technically timeless on like a level of like it's just a capsulization of that type of time period and what game devs were doing back then too. And of course I didn't really understand that as a kid, but like now I actually kind of appreciate it. It's not one of my favorite games it's not my favorite game anymore, but it's like it's still fun. It was still like my first game I chose to just do a speed game on, so. All right, so with that blue key, we get to leave this area, and then we have to make sure that I grab that third ghost. And as you can tell, every single time I grabbed one of those ghosts, that like a flame would go into
Really creepy face.
a little creepy face. Yeah, you are okay.
Yeah, I don't know why he's that high.
It's fine. Come on, there you go. Honestly, it's fine. There's like 3 health right here, so even if I get hit one more time, I should be at relatively close to full health. I'm not really that worried. This level definitely has like some RNG elements with where enemies can be positioned. If I don't mess up, they're usually in the same spot, but I have like slightly messed up. All right, buddy, you need to get hit, and now I need to switch back to hammer. All right, that was actually really good. It's the only time you're going to see me charge up weapons here. I basically need to like hit this thing exactly when it lets me. That was really good, actually.
Yeah, that was very good.
So freeing those 3 ghosts, fill out this blue face with flames, and then spawned that. I don't remember what that enemy is called. I should have done more research. But basically, it's probably called a guard, honestly. But it will kill the guard and it'll give us the dongle and bell. The dongle and bell is a unique item. It'll respawn us at that location every single time. And then has endless uses. That's unfortunate. That's whatever. All right, I hope you like the laughing and crying area, because we're done. If you are, there are 2 main routes for any percent. There is grappleless and well, with the grapple, I guess. It doesn't really have the other name, but this is a tutorial for the grapple. This is the second main mandatory event that we will be skipping. Unfortunately, it makes the game a lot harder because the game expects you to have the grapple at this point.
You see, it's very useful as what he's showing off right now allows you to...
Unfortunately, I will not be showing it off because I will not be using it, because I will not be even grabbing it.
Yep. Which is absolutely not intended. You are meant to be abusing it.
This is the one skip that boost jumps actually is the only reason why this is even a thing. That other one that I showed up earlier that took me like 3 times, that was definitely like something that like the game could like do. This is not intended. So I'm gonna switch ice boomerang because I have better luck. It's probably the placebo effect, but first try. That's really good.
That is grapple skip right there. So you're usually intended to use grapple there, but well, we just kind of jumped right over it with this boost jump. That was very clean.
Yeah, that's not a hard jump. I definitely made back some of the. Hey, buddy, do you want to be over to the left like you normally are? All right, so the movement I'm doing here is very precise because I am trying to get enemies aligned, because this game has like a Klonoa thing where if you have an enemy, you can use it as an extra height, but you can only do it once, kind of thing. So if you ever play Klonoa, it's kind of similar to that, but there I use it by grabbing the thing and do it. I'm going to attempt to do another skip here. I don't think I'm going to get it. It's very frame perfect and one of the most annoying things, and also only saves like 2 seconds, but okay, that could have been bad. Got a little bit scared. Stop that. I got a little bit scared, but we're roughly fine. Okay, you want to move? please. Thank you. All right, so we're right here. There's a cutscene that I'm going to attempt to, like, not necessarily skip, but, like... Okay, that was... I didn't trigger, so I have, like, a very... I'm going to try one more time. Okay, I am no longer trying. Basically, these things will lock into place, and if I jump right when it locks into place, this cutscene triggers. However, if I do it right, I can actually be in that room that it's pointing at right now while this cutscene is playing, and it lets me move around while that cutscene is playing. So, unfortunately, 2 times is all I was actually only going to give that 1 time, but I was like, yeah, what the heck. It only saves like 2 seconds, at least from what I can tell, because I did eventually get like a perfect split with it, and it only took like 2 seconds off of my previous gold. So, first try grapple skip though, so I'm not gonna like beat myself up too much over that. It's definitely one of the harder tricks in the game. And we went from one of my favorite parts of the game
to the literal worst part.
One of my least favorite parts of the game. We were talking about how there's like certain parts that RNG definitely has a play in. Like earlier, I guess technically like enemy positioning was a thing with the ghosts earlier, but like in general that doesn't really matter. If you're good enough, they should be in the same location all the time. This next one I have no control over, absolutely 0 control over. Luckily, luckily that moment in time is only 5 minutes away. This is my least favorite part of the game, and unfortunately it's going to take about 10 minutes. So,
and there's not too much interesting things to go on here. I guess we go on like a bit more on some of the like the version differences.
Yeah, we can talk a little bit more about version differences.
Something like so in Japan, like the PlayStation like button like layout
up until the PS5, because they did change it to the international version for Japanese PS5 people.
I actually didn't know that they're switching back to PS5.
And they are mad about that. But in general, up until the PS4, for most menu navigation, X is cancel and circle is confirm, whereas for us is the opposite.
That carries over to this game. So menu navigation is much different on the Japanese version. So for someone who's played the American version, most of their life, it is kind of a strange adjustment.
We used to think analog movement was weird on this version, and then that got debunked, and they are exactly the same as long as you have your military settings correctly. Haha. But in general, most people no longer think, as long as you're playing on a PS2, which I currently am, there's not that big of a difference between North America and J. You can play whichever version you can. There is one case where I've noticed that there's one dialogue box shorter on international than on Japanese. But in general, the text boxes are shorter on Japanese, obviously, because that's like that for most games. But I think the general consensus is if you're playing on a PS2, it probably doesn't matter. And like my PB, that's a 113. I'm about 3 minutes away from world record. I definitely like royally messed up at least 90 seconds of that PB and still got a 113. So like, I don't think the version differences are holding me back, but I also am like pretty much done with this game once this marathon's over. So at least it's a speed game, at least until the remaster comes out.
Yep.
The Japanese soundtrack is way worse, so you guys should be happy that I run on U, honestly, because most people nowadays run on J. So I think
quality of life change for this run for sure.
This is probably the song we're listening to is probably the only song that J is probably better, because this song is annoying at times.
Just because this whole area is annoying. This is like, as you can see so far, this is Circus Village. There's a bunch of clowns. I don't like clowns.
And they're all pigs.
Yeah.
And that's because the curse that the Earth Pig has put on this place is literally turning humans into pigs.
And as you heard for just a second there, they
I can't talk to them.
Yeah, they make no sense currently.
One of the NPCs that is human in this area will tell you that you need a special suit called the pig suit to talk to them. That is actually currently what we're trying to get. The pig suit in the overworld actually has a very unique property that I will be abusing a lot during the early part of the water temple. But we don't switch back to scroll close. So once I get the pig suit and switch to it, bye-bye scroll close, unfortunately. I am currently playing on D-pad for some reason. That was very weird. I don't know why I blanked out and did that. All right, so we're actually going to enter the circus warehouse. There is a closet right here, and oh, that was a very good interaction point. A lot of optimization for the split is like literally interacting with things in a certain location where the game doesn't automatically force you into a certain position and move you there. If it just rotates me, that's a good sign. Occasionally I'll be far enough that it'll actually like make me walk a little bit. Obviously walking is slower than dashing, which is what I'm currently doing by holding square, which means I'm in claw grip for this entire game, but that's besides the point. All right, here we're going to switch to the pig suit. I don't think it matters when you switch. I'm fairly certain it doesn't matter when you switch.
Yeah, it shouldn't. Now we can talk to the pigs.
All right. So the pig we're currently talking to, he actually is a pig. Like, even when this curse is lifted, he is actually an actual pig. He is a member of the pig tribe. So whereas we are fighting the evil pigs, he would be basically the elder of the good pigs. So a lot of pigs. I hope you like bacon, because we are definitely going to make some pork chops and bacon later. Especially when we get to a certain fire boss. But he will like basically like confirm what we know and what we don't know.
Here is the big
This
one.
clown. This clown.
This clown's terrible.
This clown. Oh no. Okay, so this clown is the one part where I have absolutely zero control. Basically, the entire object of this event is he doesn't have any confidence, so he's going to try to be on a tightrope, but he's scared that he'll fall because he's fat now, because he's a pig. Ha ha. Jokes. We have like this trampoline pillow thing, and we're supposed to follow him until he drops. And the thing is, who knows when he decides to drop, honestly.
Yep. In some instances, he would be done by now.
Please just do it. No, you...
Yeah. Nope. Nope. That's not bad.
Okay, that's... I've seen a lot worse.
Yeah, there's much worse than that, trust me.
That is the one part of the game that is 100% out of my control, so...
Just gonna let it happen.
I apologize for losing like maybe 4 or 5 seconds, but I can't do anything about that. I actually did not get any marathon items that I said I was going to get, but we did get those magic wings from the slide earlier, so it doesn't really matter too much. I'm still kind of upset that I accidentally went down that slide like twice, but whatever. All right, so here we're going to talk to the thing. The reason why we couldn't progress earlier is because this pig is distracted by this child that's in a pig suit who just wants to see the circus. But the circus is currently cursed into a pig state, and so none of them are confident in doing anything, and he's upset. So basically we just helped the little kid like see the circus that he came down here to visit. And as a result, the pig elder is no longer like... he's not like trying to like be indebted to the kid or something. I don't know, but basically he's like, hey, you've been a help. I'll tell you what you want to know about the evil pigs, and you just have to come see me in the pig tribe. So the pig tribe is like literally up this ladder, yeah. So we went from the part that has the most RNG in the game to the slowest part of the game, and we haven't went there yet, but there's a part where like I literally tap the D-pad like 3 times every second to move because, like, well, I guess in this case it would be analog stick because I'm not using D-pad for that, but literally I can't do anything other than slightly move at a snail's pace.
Have we mentioned this area sucks?
Yeah, this area is bad, but it's unfortunate. We have found ways to get to like the area where the transition to the water temple is, which is the next area of the game. However, the game's locked down incredibly hard, and if you don't do certain events, that teleportation point is like not enabled. So like while we do have ways to get into like certain parts of this game, it's incredibly locked down, and without events being cleared, things just doesn't work. So it just won't even let you out, unfortunately. There is a glitch hunter, I forgot what his name is, but his entire like thing is trying to figure out how a way to make this section less painful. All right, so Evil Pig is saying that if you don't know which pig took her, you're going to have to beat them all. Also, in order to progress to the water temple, we need to destroy the statue. In order to destroy the statue, he needs a spell from a book. The book's in a well, and we're too wimpy to open up that well that has a like cast iron lid on it. So we're going to enlist the help of an elephant, and the elephant is what I was talking about earlier. This grass that's currently on my back, it's like the peon's favorite food. And we're going to bait him all the way across the map to open up this well for us. So, yeah, this area is not fun, and I wish it wasn't as long. Like, the first 3D area movement we had lasted, like, maybe 2 minutes, and this one's, like, 5 times as long, and this is with the speed run, so casually this area is not too bad because there's not any enemies or anything, but, like, unlike the coal mining town, there is no part of the earth fight, or there is no part of the place where the earth is cursed that has like a normal I'm like attacking stuff. This is the entire part of the earth area. So, all right, Mr. Elephant, come on, hang on. If I get too close, he'll also make a noise. If I get too close, he'll actually eat it, and I'll have to go all the way back up there and talk to the pig elder to give me another grass. So that would be a reset, and I don't think that's ever actually happened, but in a run. Because the game is actually pretty generous, and like I said, he'll like make a little animation saying that he's way too close, and I guess if you stay at that distance, then he'll eat it. I honestly don't remember. I'm sure I messed this up as a kid once, but I honestly don't remember.
I don't remember this part at all. I must have blocked it out of my memory.
It's a really boring and slow part, unfortunately, but okay, that's the end. Luckily, from this point onwards, high octane until the very end. So
yeah, this next area is actually like extremely cool, so it makes up a little bit for this place being kind of awful.
The water temple has one of the coolest skips in the entire game because it's a glitch, and I'm going to break the game, and we're going to go through walls. But it's the only glitch that we have that's actually useful for any percent that lets us do this. And I used to do grappleless without this before this skip was found. This glitch was found. This glitch was found about maybe like 8 months ago. Doing grappleless without this skip that we're doing was painful. Painful.
Yep.
In fact, the current world record holder, he was currently second at the leaderboard at that point. He was, what was I going to say? I've lost sound on the headset, so now I'm kind of confused. Sorry.
Like he didn't want to implement grapple.
He didn't want to do grappleless. Currently, he is now world record since he switched to grappleless once this glitch was found. Yeah, we need to probably tell him that I have lost sound in the headset. That's fine. All right, so I know that stream hasn't because I hear it behind me on one of the TVs where it's just displaying the entire thing. I personally have lost sound, so
me too.
should be okay. There's only one part that I really request sound, and I probably will be fine by hearing it through the TV. But there's the pig bag. We are now officially done with this area, and we're going on to the last area of the game, which is the water temple. And it's honestly, I actually really like both. I like Kajara Donglan and Water Temple. They're all, like, the Ice, Ghost, and Water areas are all really fun. All in their different ways. But this is the only one where I actually don't have Squirrel Suit. And there's a reason for that. So Tomba can't swim. As you noticed whenever I died earlier on that, whenever I was trying to do the first, like, major skip of the game where I died, he doesn't like water. This place is full of water. And here's the hip attack. If you hold X after you do that, okay, I messed it up a little bit. That's okay. He will do like a little hip thing, and I actually use that because it's like a very small, short hop that is very useful for movement. Here I'll be taking damage because I actually need to take this crystal up here. Okay. There we go.
There we go.
I could have just grabbed the ledge and it would have been free, but that was one of the things where what I tried to do in the pipe area, using the hammer to skip the ledge animation. The pig suit's really floaty and makes stuff like that way easier. So I wanted to at least show off what that looked like. If I messed it up a second time, I probably would have just grabbed the ledge naturally, but
I'm gonna
that's
figure
slow.
out audio.
All right. So this this crystal panel is going to fix a fish tank that has a mermaid in it. Mermaid's going to upgrade this pig suit to a swimming pig suit. Ooh. Okay, that's actually really bad. Yeah, I did not grab that. Yeah, I'm messing up a lot. That's unfortunate. All right, this is what I was talking about with that little small thing. All right, so the gear that we grabbed earlier, we're going to give it to this guy. He's going to lower the drawbridge, and he'll fill up that room with water. There it goes. It's back. Yeah, it's fine now. We'll fill up that room with water. That'll be useful for that mermaid. And it's the only reason why we fill up that room, honestly. And then we're going to go talk to this mermaid, who is currently trapped in a water tank that has a hole punched out of it, so she can't escape from the top. And so we're going to take that crystal panel that I got earlier, and we're going to just literally chuck it on the spot. And like, I guess it has super glue on one side that we just don't know about, because that thing just sticks there. And like literally, he just like throws it.
Like so. Yep.
It's just stuck there.
And yep, it works.
It works. All right. So now there's like a pump on this left side of this room. We're going to fill up the thing so she can escape. And she's actually very useful, not just for giving us a swimming fit suit, but she actually talks to the big fish, who we will see in a little bit. But I know that it's kind of strange that like I haven't done any bosses yet. Bosses in this game, you need the pig bag and you need to find where they are in the world. Of course, I already know where all of them are at in the world. However, none of them have really been in the way real quick. We're about to fight our first one because this one is, like, I have to go here to get one of the parts of the mermaid harp, which is useful for later. But other than that, it's the only time I'm in this area, so I need to do this boss now. But before we do that, we're actually going to do what I have called sign skip. I'm not sure if the community has a normal name for it yet, but
Let's just quickly get up here.
it lets us like basically phase through walls, and it's one of the coolest tricks in the game, honestly.
All right, everyone, don't blink.
I slightly messed it up, but that's okay. All right, that was first try.
Perfect.
All right, so basically what happens is you talk to the sign, and you also slide off the thing because you're at the very edge, and you fall into the water, and the game kind of freaks out because it's supposed to think that you're like talking to the sign, or you're interacting with the sign, but you're now able to move because you slipped off into the water. The game kind of freaks out, lets you face through walls. Really cool.
Here's our first boss.
All right, first bosses. Bosses in this game are, with the exception of the final, take 3 hits, and they're all technically RNG, but I can react to most of them, with the exception of the last one out of the ones that take 3 hits that we'll do. That one's going to be a little bit annoying. It's probably the least favorite part in the, least favorite fight in the game, just because of pure variance. And we'll get to explaining why he's an issue right now, but ice shouldn't be an issue, and neither should most of them up until we get to the earth fight again.
It's a good introduction to how these fights work, so it's pretty self-explanatory, but these are some of my favorite parts of the whole game.
The bags we've been collecting, they're now in this arena, and we are going to throw him into the bag. All right, that's one. That was that's perfect. That should be good too.
Yep.
All right. And then if you get the first 2 successfully, the third one, whenever he teleports, he'll just laugh at you. There he goes, he's laughing. That should be good too. That was perfect. That was a perfect fight.
Right.
Technically, you could do that slightly faster by reacting to whether it's a low or high spawn, and the inputs change. I just assume that, or I just do a high spawn input for each one of those because it doesn't really matter if it's a low spawn. I will still grab it consistently. So. That's technically, that was not technically perfect, but it might as well have been.
You don't need to worry about those ropes right now. We can explain those a bit later, but right now they're just going to be important.
Those ropes let us do ice magic, or in this case it's ice magic because I beat the ice boss. Unfortunately, we won't be doing any magic until the very end of the game, and we will not be performing it on any enemies, unfortunately, just because it's slow.
As you saw, Guitar Rance is now no longer icy because we had cured the area.
Yeah, Kajara Ranch is now uncursed, so now it's in its original state, which is literally a ranch. All right, here, that boomerang thing I did, I will be doing it again, and I will not be messing it up because that is very hard to mess up with the pig suit on. Hi, Crab. How are you doing? Good luck, Jim. Switch to hammer real quick to make sure that that thing doesn't bother me. Switch back to ice boomerang. Like I said, we'll be doing a lot. Oh, that was almost really good. We're actually going up here now, finally. We haven't been doing up here. relatively good too. Water Temple is really fun, especially if you're really good at it. I don't want to say I'm really good at it, but yeah. Alright, so here we go.
Big fish.
The big fish. He judges you and sees if you're worthy, and if you're worthy, you get to go into the actual Water Temple. This Water Temple, this whole area is called the Water Temple, but this is the actual Water Temple, and as you can tell, where's the Water Temple? Good question. Unfortunately, we need to wake up the big fish, and that's Mermaid that changed our pig suit earlier. She's like, hey, I can do it if I have my harp, but the pigs broke my harp. So we already have one of them from the chest earlier. There's another piece right there. We're doing a quick trick right here where we're falling, and then I hit that diagonally. And basically, the game thinks I'm in a falling state, so I can grab this chest immediately without jumping on it. As a result, because it thinks we're still going downwards in momentum, so it just lets me walk into this chest and immediately grab it. It's the only time I use something like that in the game, because it's the only place where like you really can, because you need to be able to trigger a cutscene in the air, and there's not a lot of places where you can do that. But luckily, it's very useful right here. So this is going to be the white key, and then we will get the white key. That's the only white chest I need, because it contains the third out of the fourth pieces of the harp. And the fourth one is, unfortunately, it's only in this area once you talk to the mermaid to get the harp in the first place, but it's actually in the same room where we got the thing. It's just over here. And that will be all 4 harp pieces, so now we have the mermaid's harp to give it back to her, and she will wake up the big fish. Let me see if I...
So if I remember correctly, like the song that the mermaid plays on the harp is a version of like the Japanese version of this same song we're hearing right now. Like the different.
Correct. The song that the mermaid's going to play is a harp version of the Japanese Water Temple theme. They did not do anything with that crazy. As you can tell, ever since I released that thing to get that white key, there's been things following us. So the path up there is slightly different. But correct, the harp, the music that she's about to play is actually the Japanese, it's like a harp version of the Japanese Water Temple theme. So you can kind of tell a little bit of like why they decided to change direction and thought the soundtrack wasn't good enough. There's one part about the Japanese soundtrack that I like, and it's the bosses. The boss themes are all the same for the Japanese version, just like they are for the North American version, except they have different instruments. So they're all a little bit different, but the melody is entirely the same. And that was intended for the North American version. There are beta versions that actually do exist. It just never happened for the North American version, which is unfortunate because it's honestly really cool that that was a thing.
It's also a really good theme. Like the U.S. boss theme is very good.
U.S. boss theme is really good. U.S. final boss theme is also really good. And eventually we're going to get into a part that might as well just be a JoJo reference.
Yeah.
And that music is very ominous and creepy on purpose.
We'll get there when we get there.
There's the Water Temple.
Big fish let us in.
All right, so this is the finale of the Water Temple, and I said earlier that this is the last area of the game. Well, I kind of lied, sort of.
Remember that egg from earlier?
That egg from earlier that I grabbed, that still would be useful in 30 minutes.
30 minutes has passed.
Yeah, we're now at the point where that's useful. The game makes you do one final fetch quest if you've never found this egg. And it's like, hey, I need the things out of this. So these are called mystery reflectors. And basically, it's like a light puzzle, and it'll like beam light at like the eyes on the door, and the door will open. We don't actually have to do anything like puzzling related other than find the mystery reflector. But I grabbed it earlier because it's the only time that we're like in the speedrun actually going to be able to grab it. And yeah, so here we go, and that should be it.
Absolutely. It's kind of unfortunate if you didn't grab it before when you did, because then you're just like,
then you're just stuck, and you're like, where is this thing? But the game kind of hints at you because it's an egg, and it tries to like makes you as like, hey, do you remember seeing a bird with an egg? And there's only like one area that that bird is in. That Coca Bird's actually an enemy from the first game. That's very common, but here it's only in that one location. So
that just revealed our final pig bag that we're gonna be like really obtaining inside the final one.
All right, so this is the water pig bag, obviously. So now I can fight the water boss. That's cool. I really hope that it's really close next by. But I said this was the final area of the game. I lied. There's more. The door's opening. We actually can go through the door. There's more. So where does this door lead us? Good question. It actually leads us back to the very beginning of the game. This is the final area.
It's actually very convenient because now we're doing the boss rush part.
Yeah, this is the boss gauntlet. That door is always locked until you get to that point. So we're actually basically at the boss part, or the boss gauntlet.
Now that we have all the pig bags, now we're just going to go and beat them all up, pretty much.
Starting with the water. Water's right here.
Yeah. So very convenient.
And earlier we were talking about how I was like teleporting using magic wings, and to be very, you might want to get used to it. It's because after this, there's a lot of teleportation and a lot of like, just like, beat a boss, teleport, beat a boss, teleport. Once you're done with all the 5 main bosses, then like the final boss is like, haha, you don't know where I'm at. I do. That type of thing. This is the only female boss in the game. In fact, whenever you get her robe at the end, Zippo, our little friend that's been talking for us, because Tomba himself doesn't talk, and I haven't mentioned it up until this moment, the little bug that's right next to us. And he's like, oh, it's a woman's robe, but it fits you just fine.
He does not care.
He does not care. All right, that's one. Some of these are a little bit tricky. I have to kind of react a little bit, so that's the reason why I'm kind of shutting up for this. But
yeah, a lot of these guys are not great.
That should be okay.
Yeah.
All right, so this boss is the only boss that does this. Once I take 2 of her hits, she actually changes the terrain in the arena. I wonder if this was intended for every single fight in the game. It just never happened, but it's the only fight in the game that's like this, so I don't know.
This final hit's actually kind of tricky, so.
Yeah, this final boss was like, or the final hit's like really annoying. Oh, damn it. Yeah, that's okay. Come here. All right, things get a little bit more tricky because I'm not used to spawns now. So, yeah, no, you're just going to do that spinning attack that I hate. Once again, you're just going to do that spinning attack. I can't hit you. Oh my god. I'm going to die. Somehow did not die.
There we go. Perfect.
If I don't stop her from doing that, she's invincible until she like spins out of control. I honestly thought I was going to die there. All right, so we're going to be teleporting back to the trolley station, ironically enough. And that's not even the final teleportation I do in the trolley station, actually. There's like 2 more after that. I will be grabbing some health that's on top of the trolley door, just because I am at low health. Water tempo barely changes. I think the only change is that it's not ringing anymore.
There's still water.
There's still water.
There's water
It's the water temple, but it's just not ringing anymore.
Yeah.
Something we haven't talked about is each of these areas, they get new music whenever they're uncursed. Unfortunately, we're not going to hear some of them, but we all are going to hear some of them, or a couple of the other ones. All right, so the bosses that we're doing are in a very specific order. I have to beat Ghost before I beat Fire because I cannot even get to Fire while the Ghost place is still cursed because the water, even with the pig suit on, will instantly kill me. So we have to do Ghost first. This is one of my favorite parts of doing this. This is another really clever use of tricks. Since I don't have grapple, I'm basically going to carry this guy. And this is the one part where I actually do want sound. Okay, like I already knew I jumped there because I saw it beforehand. Sometimes I don't know. But very clever use of game mechanics right there. I just kind of use him as an extra mid-air jump and just can get to the door that way without grapple. Lesser players will just switch to Squirrel Suit and just like fly over there. It's slow and honestly changing up timing for some of these hits since you're not as floaty. So that trick exists. It's honestly not that hard. People just need to learn it, honestly, for the people that just don't want to learn it. I don't think it's that hard. I haven't messed it up.
Terrifying as well.
All right, Ghost should theoretically go well. This is all literally just positioning, and I should not mess this up because there's very little RNG in this fight. But yeah, he's like super like disgusting and evil and dead. So
the main thing is we can't see the pig back here, so we're just gonna try and do some. I'll shut up.
This one's free. That one should always work. So yeah, I don't get to see the pig back in this. So this is just very, very specific movement.
He just pretty much knows where it is.
That should This third hit might be a little bit iffy. That might be fine too. All right, we're good.
Perfect goes.
All right, so that's 3 out of the 6 fights down. My favorite boss is honestly the final one, because the final one does some really cool stuff in terms of like what attacks it does are based on stuff that you do, for example. But we actually manipulate that in our favor, so I'll get to that when we get there. But most of these just have like set patterns that I will be abusing. This is number 3. Ghost is really, as long as I do those movements correctly, I probably am not going to mess it up, as you saw. Fire is kind of the same way, except it's not as easy as Ghost was. But in general, as long as I'm in certain locations, I should be fine. That Dungling Bow we got, this is the only time we're actually going to use it. It's a required item for any percent, because you have to kill that ghost to get to the Laughing Crying Forest. This is the only use we have for it in the run, otherwise it'd just be another thing in our inventory we wouldn't use.
Just the new music here.
This is the new Dungling Forest music, so we can actually fall into the water when it's uncursed and enter this little pocket of land right here, and this is where the fire boss is at.
In case you guys haven't noticed, like the main the only really big hint you have outside of like talking to some NPCs that like the pickback that you obtain is not like in the same area. Like the actual boss is not going to be in the same area that it's tied to.
Yeah, so fire's in Ghost, water is in the starting area, ice is in water, that type of thing. There is a side mission you can do that gives you more specific hints of where these enemies are at or where these doors are at. But other than that, it's literally, I already know where they're at, we're just have to go there. But they're never going to be in the area that they were cursed in. And the game does explain that part, I think.
Yeah, at least it does in the first game. So that works. It works the same way in that one as well. Except they die in one hit in that one. It's very anticlimactic, including the final one.
He wants to char us until we're well done. And I say no to that, so. All right. All right, that's step number 1. This one's really cool because even though I said it's like relatively consistent, I actually move around this entire arena.
This is a very cool hit right here.
That should be fine.
That'll be fine.
Yeah, just very cool. This is actually where the bosses eat up a lot of time if you mess them up, and it's honestly one of the reasons why things are like a little bit harder. All right, so cool. That's 3 out of the 4. That's perfect. And honestly, water was really, really clutch.
That's a clean backup at least.
Water was really clutch. So honestly, all the bosses have been relatively fine. And honestly, that's where most of my time gets eaten up by. I can do most of the early game, relative and mid game relatively consistently. These bosses, if I mess them up, I mess them up, and then it just eats up so much time because like they teleport at random intervals. They don't do the same things if you mess up either, so then you have to kind of react. It eats up a lot of time. But so far, I've been crushing the bosses at least, which is kind of nice.
Fire's gone now.
Yep, still Bottomless Void, except for one area for a very weird side mission, but I'm not getting into that. I don't know how people found that out. All right, so now we're going to be going to my least favorite boss in the entire game, the Earth Boss. The Earth Boss is in Kajara Ranch.
There's definitely a ranch if you're going to listen to music really quick.
Yeah, so previously this was the ice area, now it's uncursed, and so now it's a very southern ranch.
You can hear it yourself.
I'm also going to try to attempt to do a really cool entrance into that arena, so I'll let that music play while I'm going to try and practice or concentrate on this. That's fine. I'm still going to go for it.
Nice. All right. So.
Nope. You've told me not to do this.
I just don't.
I'll wait. All right. That was actually one of the best entrances I've had to this arena. Normally, I try to instantly teleport or instantly change suits once I do that first part because I need the suit on for that first part.
She'll explain it a little bit.
But I've got hit and fall off before, so against his better judgment, I didn't do that. I almost did, but against his better judgment, I didn't switch until I'm going to be switching really soon, like once I can move.
You might see really quick why we hate this fight. It's because he's fat.
If I don't get a good first 2, if I don't get one hit out of the first 2, I will fall into water and reset the fight because if I let this get spiraled out of control, it's going to be bad. He's fat. And because he's fat, it's hard to grab him. And that's all there is to it. Because they can, like, sometimes, like, change how high he spawns, sometimes they're unhittable. So I'm going to try to make sure that's hittable. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, we're just going to reset here. We'll just reset here, that's fine.
Good spawn. Yep.
All right.
Sometimes he likes to phase through the bag just by how fat he is. That doesn't make it an advantage for this fight, putting him in.
All right, so I got one out of the two. That's fine.
Yeah, he was
I'm now just going to abuse the fact that he's just going to run at me. I'm glad I did that reset.
Yeah, it was
That
a
reset
very
was-
good play. I didn't really waste that much time, and just lets it make
All right,
this
he's
a lot
going
more
to dash me
consistent.
this way.
Yep, and
All right,
that's
good.
clean.
That was actually really clean,
That
honestly.
fight can go much worse.
I've spent like 3 minutes on this fight before, so me taking the time to go ahead and do the mental reset and also physical reset, and I got it, at least a decent one. That's not the best one I can do, obviously, because I technically didn't get to hit him for one of those hits, but in general, if you're speedrunning this game, this guy's your worst enemy, and you are not, you would take what I did pretty well. All right, now we beat all 5 main bosses. Big Bad that we saw earlier, he's gonna be like, you don't know where I'm at, and I'm also way different than the other ones. He's mostly right, actually.
Oh, we get to see what they look like without being pigs.
Yep. They're just normal clowns.
Still don't like clowns, but at least they're not clown pigs.
All right, so for the second to last time, we will be, or actually maybe it's the last one. It's the last one. I will be teleported to the trolley station. Hooray!
Yeah, so it was very important, like 10 minutes into the run that we
Talk to that
about.
sign. Even if I didn't talk to that sign, once I went to the trolley station to pick up the hammer, it would activate. But because I wanted to teleport before going there, I have to talk to the sign in order to do that. So
This song's very good as well.
I like the song.
The type area.
Okay, that's a little bit weird, but that's okay. It actually doesn't matter what my health is right now because the game's going to be like, haha, I'm going to refill it all. Although I am just going to go ahead and grab that. All right, so the old man that we talked to at the very beginning of the game, at the
he's a
Flaming
wizard.
House, and also he helped us with the ghost in the ghost area. He's just here.
Yeah,
And the book that he got from the ghost area, he's been reading it apparently. And because he's been reading it, for some reason, he just straight up has the final pig bag that we were looking for. That the guy who came from the Kajara Ranch earlier had and got snatched away from him by the final boss himself. So we just have that now.
it's not explained.
It's not. Kynan is just a wizard. That's all there is to it. We have to talk to him twice because once he gives you that bag and kind of explains. He explains that if you go through this door, there's no coming back. So if you have any side missions that you want to do, you save now. You do not go in this room. But we're going to go into this room because we're trying to beat the game. So
Yeah.
this is a question mark room. This is where things become basically a JoJo reference.
And it's also like one of the coolest like parts of the game, in my opinion.
Aesthetically, this is probably the coolest area of the game. Final boss taunts you. And how he taunts you is he literally stops time he stops time except for me and him. We are the only 2 people that are currently not time stopped right now. All right, so the reason why I had this red robe on earlier is because now we're actually going to be using the magic that we were talking about earlier. Each of these plates can only be destroyed by the respective magic, so this is going to be a lot of inventory management and a lot of switching suits. But other than that, whenever I said that it was just me and this final boss, not time stopped, I meant that. There are no enemies.
So now we have this really cool atmospheric music that
It's just so creepy and atmospheric and honestly
love it.
super cool. It's one of the coolest areas of the game. The Japanese version of this song is actually like really weird and not really fitting.
it is also cool in its own way because it has like you hear like clocks chime in the back, which is kind of like ironic in a way. You know, like the time has stopped.
One of the things I like about the natural route for this is it just so happens that we're going to be breaking these plates in the order of the areas in the game. So we broke fire just then because it was locking us in, and that was kind of the tutorial plate to show you how this system works. We'll be going to the ice now. Very good movement. Normally I grab that little torch thing there, and it doesn't really cost too much time, but it can be rather annoying. That was kind of sloppy movement there, but honestly, menu nav is menu nav. I'm not going to beat myself over that.
Okay, so now we're in Ghost, which was after Kajara.
This area is really cool, really short. We teleport here. We're gonna like make like maybe 3 boost jumps, and then we're gonna use the ability and teleport. That's 1, 2, 3. I guess I could have only 2, but that's fine. Alright, then we're gonna switch to Earth. You might be asking yourself, how am I gonna use a weapon on in an area that doesn't have like enemies, so the weapon system is disabled and we're not like 3D environment. The game has thought about that. We literally just run up to it and hit circle. So. Oh, I need to switch to hammer too. I almost forgot. I would have remembered once we actually got to the arena, but I should go ahead and switch to hammer. Alright, this should be the last switch I do. The next time I should only have to use the triangle menu one more time, and that's literally the teleport, but other than that, I'm done.
This is our last, this is the last suit you're going to see Tomba in before we see the end of the game.
The water temple is unique, as in you cannot just teleport it. It was blacklisted on the menu earlier. The reason why we do it in an order, it turns out the water temple's door is right here. So I kind of like it because you do it with fire, ice, ghost, earth, and then water. Just so happens to work out that way. Now, I need to make sure I don't make a mistake. I made my PP. And I accidentally teleported to Charlie Station again. And had to just teleport again and wasted time. I made a lot of mistakes on PB, and I still like kind of crushed it. So
A lot of time. All right, we are
I'm at 116 right now. I will have a 118 probably. That's honestly fine.
We're approaching the final fight.
All right, so we teleported back to this area, and now we're going to the final area of the game, or the final boss of the game.
Now that all the plates are gone, we can just go ahead and jump on in.
All right. So this guy takes 5 hits instead of 3. However, he also looks at what weapon you have equipped and will use a much stronger version of it against you. We're not going to be using weapons against him. However, we're going to be abusing that fact. I switched to hammer specifically because its draw is really, really slow. And so I can kind of just like be like, hey, I'm going to hit you while you're trying to use the hammer. Or grab onto you while you're using the hammer. Whether or not I get a hit is another story or not, because for some reason that's been a little bit inconsistent for me recently, but I shouldn't at least mess up the grab.
Just some information on time end, because we've mentioned many times before, this fight actually has 5 hits instead of 3, and the timing ends on like as soon as the last pig gets put into the bag for the 5th time. We'll make sure to like call out time when that happens, but it's going to be coming up pretty soon, assuming this fight goes. Yes, that's one.
That's fine. Honestly, that was not necessarily a good backup, but. All right, so far so good. That's the least part.
Yeah.
3 more hits to go.
Yeah, 3 more.
So far, this fight has been actually relatively clean, so I'm actually pretty happy with it.
Four,
Right,
so
four.
one more. As
One
soon as it
more.
gets in there for the final one, we'll make sure to call it out, just in case this last one misses.
And time! That was a very good final fight. That was a very good final fight.
A very, very clean final.
Yeah, that's
Wait, what was final time?
so it's a little about what I kind of expected. I wanted it at 117 or less, but 118 is not too far
It's
behind.
not bad. We're trying to skip through to see if we can see Tabby, because no one's been able to see her
I
yet.
skipped the cutscene. Yeah, like the whole time he's been after the girl, and we don't get to see her until right now.
There she is.
Unfortunately, I kind of mashed through one of the cutscenes, but honestly, the text dialogue that the boss has whenever you beat him is one of my
What?
favorites in the entire game, too.
I was taken by the evil
Alright.
pigs, and then
Yep, so that was Tomba 2.
Thank you so much for paying attention.
Tomba!